Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
I've received the thumbs up from my producer. It was all right. I quite liked it. So welcome to the Frank Skinner Absolute Radio podcast. That's what I'm calling it. I'm here with Emily and Gareth.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it sounds a bit hang-dog. You see, what's happened is because we record these after the show, the adrenaline's dropped now. During the show, we were mildly hysterical, I would say.
We were. But that's because you got to speak to someone very special.
I did, yes. But I do that every... Oh, you spoiled... That was going to be a compliment and you spoilt it. No, yes, I got to speak to the new West Bromwich Albion manager. If you don't like football, don't panic, because we talk about all sorts of things.
And if you're a lady, you'll like it, because he had quite a sexy voice, I thought.
Yes, it's the Italian thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
And Alun Cochrane was on, the comedian. He was very good, I thought. He will be good, I mean, when you listen to it in a minute. And we're in Birmingham. That's the unique thing about this week's show, for reasons that you will discover as you listen to this podcast. So I really hope you'll enjoy it. You know, it matters to me, and I know it matters to my colleagues. Am I correct?
Yes.
So do listen and laugh.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, it is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and we're in Birmingham. Can you believe it?
I know. It's so exciting.
And to celebrate, I've got some special jingles. What about this?
Going back to Birmingham.
Quick, but I like it.
Yeah, nice.
If you don't get it quick, he says, way down in Alabama, which slightly spoils the whole thing. So this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, live from Birmingham with Emily and Gareth. And we're all here, but they stayed in a hotel last night.
Yeah, we did.
How was that?
Well, it was all right, but the aircon was broken. I know that sounds a bit princessy.
Never you.
No, but it was making a noise, which I compared to the sound of someone stirring a metal broth.
You know,
it was clanky.
You know when someone's stirring a metal broth?
I hate it when people do that.
So I'm a bit sleep deprived, but I love Birmingham. I love it.
You've never been before, I should
No, it's my first time. But the guys are very appreciative. That's why I like it. You get a good, they look at you in a really nice way, I think.
Do you mean they're Lear and Lech?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that as well. Took me years to get that out of my system. Now I find out women like it. Can't believe. Well, I went to the. We're at BRMB. Can you allow to say that? I've said it now. They're letting us use their station. So we're in a studio in BRMB. And I tell you what I noticed here, that I went to the toilet earlier, and the door, sometimes you push your door, a swing-in door, and it's surprisingly hard. Perhaps this doesn't happen to you younger people. But I went to push it, and it didn't move. I had to get a bit more purchase. I had to readjust my feet position to get it open. This is just to get into the toilet. I mean, I could have pulled something. And I went to the test match yesterday at Edgbaston.
Oh, yeah.
Which was fabulous. I mean, very exciting cricket. And I sat with Trevor Francis, the former famous footballer.
Yes, I know him.
And John Major.
What was he like?
I had quite a long chat with him. I didn't know this, but if you're a Prime Minister, you get security for the rest of your life.
Wow. So
everywhere he goes...
people always ask him.
People always... Yeah. So there was two. I mean, they're not very apparent, but yeah, he said to me he hadn't been anywhere on his own for 31 years.
I think that's really glamorous, having close protection. I think that's very glamorous.
Well, I said I'd quite like it, and I was thinking about it, particularly longingly this morning when I woke up at 4 a.m. in my flat in Birmingham, and what I assume were hooded youths outside. I had an image of my car being upside down and on fire.
Gareth and I are like your bouncers now. That's what I like to think of us as.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
although
think of you as
you're
my
in
bouncers.
trouble if anyone does seriously try to do anything. Do you think John Major became Prime Minister just so he didn't have to be alone ever again?
Well, it's a nice idea. If you're a lonely person by nature, I suppose it is a good thing. I like having... He said, sometimes it gets on your nerves. And he said if he insisted, he could get rid of them, But who'd do that?
Yeah.
So, was there someone standing by while he was with Edwina Curry? Or do you think they stayed outside the room?
I can't. He's my mate now. I'm not going to refer to that.
His showbiz mate.
He's my new mate.
Emily, do you think there was someone in the room while he was with Edwina Curry?
Oh, yeah.
Look,
definitely.
I'm still in charge here. I'm in Birmingham now. I'm on my own patch. But it was very... And if I had two security guards with me, I'd just walk into pubs and be lippy with big blokes. Try and lure them into a bit of, what you doing, mate, lads? And they've got those, like, wiry bits behind their ears. Oh, man, it must be brilliant.
Absolute Radio.
So, why am I in Birmingham? That's what you're asking yourselves, you people listening, our beloved listeners. Well, I'll tell you, I'm getting a star on the Birmingham Walk of Stars.
It's very exciting.
That, people are asking. It is very exciting if you're in Birmingham. A lot of people might not have heard of it, but you know that thing in Hollywood where they have stars on the pavement? I mean, stars, not stars on the pavement, obviously. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. a few years back. Well, they have got one of them in Birmingham. So it's like Ozzy Osbourne was the first one. He got a star. And Jasper Carrot's got one.
I saw one yesterday.
Who did you
Outside
see?
Flair's nightclub, I saw Noddy Holder.
When you say Flair's nightclub, I don't know if you're giving the right image of Birmingham. I don't want people to think we're locked in the 70s in any way. But yes.
Yeah, Noddy Holder I saw. I hope you're near him.
And, of course, Noddy Holder was the other. Yeah, Noddy Holder has got a star. Yeah, which is... I mean, I'm in good company. There's some odd ones. Maury Walker's got a star.
Oh, I didn't even know he was from Birmingham.
No, I had no idea he was from Birmingham. I haven't met anyone from Birmingham who knew he was from Birmingham. It's something he obviously kept very much to himself. And also the Archers have got a star.
All of them?
Or the series itself.
Oh, okay.
One particular actor. And then it says, like, in brackets, I mean, some of them are quite camp. There's loads of script on some of various qualifications and explanations of how they got them. But mine just says Frank Skinner, and then there's a picture of a microphone.
Oh. Hey, is there going to be, like, a Lord Mayor, and is it going to be all formal?
Oh, the Lord Mayor is going to present it.
I love it. I love a mayor.
And he's got the proper, Has
he got a chain?
He's got enough to chain.
Oh, I love the chain.
How am I going to recognise him? Could be anybody. He don't just wear the chain, though. He wears the red coat and the 2-point hat.
You know what that's a bit?
2-point hat sounds like 2-point hat children.
It doesn't.
What did you say?
It sounds a bit Henry VIII.
Well, I don't know. I think the Lord Mayor's the slimline version.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It could be, nowadays, could be a woman. Pause there. We just thought about that. Oh, yeah. People were thinking that, was that all right to say? It's perfectly all right to say. Obviously, it would be a Lord Mayoress, but a Mayoress is a fantastic thing to be. So, yeah, anyway, so that's why I'm in Birmingham. So we're going to do the show, and then we do various other things. And I think about 5 o'clock, I'll be meeting the Lord Mayor. His worship, the Lord Mayor. Do I call him your worship?
Yes.
Oh.
Your Eminency, I'm going to call him.
Your Eminency.
Why not?
Yeah.
He's not going to not like that,
I'm
is
going to
he?
call him... Right, OK.
I'm going to call him Eminem for short.
I'm going to say that halfway through that I'm having a bit of a mare. In fact, I'm having a bit of a Lord Mayor. That's how bad a day it's been. Oh, dear. So, so that's what's happening. And I'm being slightly jocular, but I am quite excited about it. Because it'll mean that people will be able to say, well, I'll meet you at Frank Skinner at 8 o'clock. And they can meet me at the start. It's actually on a street called Broad Street in Birmingham. So it'll also mean that it'll be covered in vomit most weekends. And, I often was on the pavement in Broad Street covered in vomit. So I'm OK with that.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Yes, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth. We are in Birmingham. Did you read the thing in the paper that in Germany you can buy, this is like a practical joke thing, you can buy bikinis and you give them to, your girlfriend or whatever, and then once they go into the water, they dissolve after 2 minutes.
Oh, my God. That's horrible. I'd give that to a girl I didn't like. I'd do that. I'd give her a present and go, hi, I bought you a bikini.
Yeah, you would do that, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't really.
I'd be suspicious if somebody bought me, obviously they bought me a bikini, but wouldn't you, the idea is apparently that you do it if you got if you split up and you hate your ex-girlfriend, you give her a bikini and humiliate her in public.
Oh, right. So it's a revenge bikini. It's a revenge bikini.
It's a revenge bikini.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is what they do in Germany, apparently. I don't know what's gone wrong with the old-fashioned abusive phone call.
Yeah, or sewing prawns in the curtain hem. That's what I do.
So is that some sort of terrible euphemism
No.
I don't want to work out? Sewing prawns
in the curtain hem. And then they'll think, what's that horrible smell?
Oh,
and then they'll never know. Yeah.
It's the prawns in the curtain hem.
I think that would be a nice title for your memoir, should you ever write them.
From now on, I'm going to call you Prawns in the Curtain M.
It's Hidden Shallows, my memoir. I told you that.
Hidden Shallows is
Yeah.
very, very fine. Yeah, so I've never... I mean, it's a bit unkind, this one, isn't it? The dissolving bikini. It could be worse. It could be like the dissolving
Yeah.
dinghy. It's a bit, for the non-swimming ex-girlfriend, that obviously would be a little bit harsher.
The dissolving ambulance.
Yes.
Someone calls an ambulance.
And it's raining.
Something else that was dissolving.
I mean,
If I had a bit more time, I would have thought of something funny.
Well, I mean, we don't have time now for you to workshop stuff. It has to come out ready.
But something, something that's important, that if it dissolved, then that would be bad. That's the sort of thing I was after.
Yeah, a bit like the
listeners can
dissolving dinghy joke.
Yeah,
that I
dissolving
did some
dinghy.
15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Stop it, you two.
Excellent.
I don't really like practical jokes, though. I used to do them a lot when I was a kid.
Like,
I don't know if I should say they're so bad. Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
I had a babysitter called Mrs. Lion, and I did a wee in a glass and said, Mrs. Lion, I brought you some apple juice.
and did she say, "Rah!" I'm imagining she was like Mrs. Lion, the way Roland Rat would be called Mr. Rat.
Yeah, well,
And she drank the apple juice.
No, of course she went, this is very warm.
Oh, no.
She knew.
This
She
is
rumbled
very
me.
warm and tastes of urine.
Yeah, she was no Thor, Mrs. Lion.
Oh, sorry about that. Would you like one of my brownies? That would have been unpleasant.
And once
No, I've just finished an antelope. Sorry, Mrs. Lion. Shouldn't she be Mrs. Lioness if we go on the mayoress?
Did you sew a dolphin into an anorak?
No, but once
Yeah, because she was out and she could hear... What is that noise? Is that my iPod?
My mum and dad and my whole family once on April Fool's Day, they did a really good trick on me where I was sleeping in the morning.
And they moved house.
I know. No, they set the fire alarm off.
Right.
the smoke alarm, and then I got up and rushed out in my pyjamas.
Well, your parents did
yeah,
that.
and they were all waiting there in the hallway for me. And said, "Gareth, there's a fire! There's a fire!" And then they
Do you
all
live
ran.
in a hotel? It's an odd thing in a house, isn't it? Like, how
I'm in a
big is your
corridor.
house?
It was our house that we had it was when we lived in Cornwall, and it was quite long and thin, and it had a corridor.
Vicars earn a lot of money these days.
Well, it wasn't a vicar then.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
His dad's a vicar, isn't he?
He's a preacher. Is that
Oh,
the same
okay.
thing as a
Preacher,
vicar?
no, it's not an Anglican.
Anyway, so what happened?
So we ran. I didn't mean to say Anglican in quite
No,
that
it sounded
term.
like, yeah, not fire.
Tone.
It's not the fire and brimstone type. Well, the fire type, certainly.
And then I ran outside of the house, and then they all laughed at me. So they all ran through the house with me until I got outside in my pyjamas, and then they all laughed at me.
Yeah, and then they locked the door and didn't let you in for, I think it was almost 2 months, isn't it?
And then while I was out, they sewed a jellyfish into my duvet cover.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that.
Absolute Radio.
Yeah, I did a practical joke on David Baddiel. His ex-girlfriend, I used to live with him, right, and his girlfriend used to stop a lot. They weren't married. And she went to a fancy dress party as Catwoman, and she had, like, this headband, like one of those solid plastic headband things with big ears.
Oh, yeah,
massive,
I'm
big,
familiar
black,
with
pointy
them.
ears, yeah. And a few months later, I found the headband with the ears on. So I got in at about 2 in the morning or something, and I lay in bed for a bit, and then I got up and I wedged the plastic band with the ears sticking out into the cat flap. So there was just 2 big black pointy ears sticking out the cat flap, and then I really rattled the door. And Dave had got out of bed and come out and went, "Oh, God!" So he was so gullible, Dave. He thought it was like a giant cat.
I bet he's quite easy to wind up.
Oh, God, he's a very intelligent man. He's told me many times. But he's a double first at Cambridge, in case he stopped, just so he doesn't have to text in. And... But it's so gullible. It's unbelievable. I once put a plastic frog in his bedroom, but and it was one of those African day glow tree frog things. And he says, "Oh, God, there's a frog in my bedroom. Can you get rid of it?" And I went in there. He hit the cat for bringing it in, which I felt slightly bad about. But, if you're going to make an omelette. And then he was hiding in the ensuite while I dealt with the frog. I picked it up, put it in my mouth, and went, "Woo!" And he came out and screamed. He thought the frog had leapt into my mouth. It's a strange old world. Anyway, if you've ever done a practical joke, or if you've ever been the victim of a good one, then give us a text. We're on 81215. And we don't have any emails.
No emails today.
Yeah,
No.
this week. We don't have the
You can
technicalities. They
only
don't have them in
text.
Birmingham yet. They've only just got Christianity. So,
And Flair's nightclub.
and Flair's nightclub. So, Flair's nightclub is just they actually fire flares in there at the customers. But I think that's all right. So, yeah, 81215 and give us a text about your practical jocularity.
Frank, my chair's really squeaking. Listen.
I
It's
thought that was
bad.
your spine. I didn't want to mention it. No, yeah, well, we're on different chairs
I
today. Just
know.
you have to live with that.
Okay.
I think that's okay. Don't give me a hard time about
All
it.
right.
What was we going to talk about sleeping? Well, we was talking about sleeping. So we have these conversations and then I forget.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, how you sleep, when you fall asleep next to your partner, well, I wouldn't because it's been a while.
Yeah.
But that dictates what your relationship will be like. So if you don't have kind of compatible sleeping habits, that's really bad news.
But
That's
how
like
do you
a really
know if
key
you're
thing.
asleep?
Oh, no, if someone's... Okay, so I used to go out with a guy, the comedian I went out with?
Yes. Which
He-
one? I think we've established previously that you went out with the Castor Dad's Army over a period of 2 years.
He used to say to me that...
You have been sleeping with Clive Dodd.
Oh, he was lovely, Clive. No, he used to say to me that sleeping next to me was like sleeping next to a tumble dryer.
Clive Dunn said that.
No!
He's a bit more poetic than I had him. Sleeping next to a tumble dryer.
Yeah, that's what it was like, because apparently I toss and turn so much.
Oh, thank God for that. I think you slept with your front door open.
Absolute Radio.
So, yeah, my sleeping... I used to go out with a woman and we slept together. I know. And she was such a difficult person. I'm not going to name her, but...
I can guess who it is, though.
I know you can. And she was such a difficult person. I remember being in bed with her once, right? The light had been off, maybe an hour when I was I was asleep, half asleep, whatever. And we were lying facing each other, and I rolled over, so turning my back to her, and I heard her going, "Oh, thanks very much." Now that's a lot of pressure. If turning your back on somebody in bed is a bit of a moment, a bit of a difficult moment.
And you know that if I find it unreasonable, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing.
I do, because you try and cuddle and stuff, but Laura and I...
How do you know?
We when we,
You try
it's
and
nice
cuddle.
cuddling for a bit, but I can't go to sleep with anyone touching me.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you start cuddling for a while and you go, oh, this is nice, and then you get to the point where you can't possibly bear the touch of another person for a second longer. And I think we both do. We both sort of have to throw the other person away.
Throw them away. That's
Throw them
horrible.
away into the bin, and then you've got to find a whole new partner.
Yeah, well, someone told me that he'd slept with a lady, and he'd gone to sleep like with his arm around her neck, kind of thing. But that's how he'd got her to sleep in the first place. No, that's not true. And she'd fallen asleep sort of on his arm. And he couldn't move his arm, all the blood drained out of his arm. So she was lying on sort of like the bicep, and he couldn't feel his hand or any of his forearm, and he became worried that it might go white and fall off. And but he didn't want to wake her up because it was like the first time they slept together, and he didn't want to cause a scene. Now that is ridiculous.
Did he lose the arm?
Yeah, I'm afraid he did. I was going to leave that bit out this early in the morning, but yes, he lost the arm. But
Hey, we've had a
an omelette. You got to lose a few arms. Have we had any
we
tension?
have,
Oh, we have.
Frank.
Good.
Yeah, we were asking people about practical jokes.
Yes.
And
I was here.
oh yeah, I forgot. Ooh. Coxie in Felixstowe says, I used to work for Virgin Atlantic as cabin crew. We used to have butterballs.
Aren't they called Absolute Atlantic now?
Oh yes, I believe they are.
Oh, good.
We used to have butterballs in upper class. You know those posh
I
butterballs.
was that as a nickname of one of the stewards.
It's when you get a bit sweaty on a plane.
Oh,
isn't it that? Sorry.
Just because we're in Birmingham, don't get carried away.
Let me finish reading it. We used to have butterballs in upper class, posh, all that. We used to cover them in coffee granules and give them to the new cabin crew, saying they were chocolate truffles.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
I bet no one ever complained, 'cause I imagine that butterballs covered in in coffee granules is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
You don't seem convinced.
I don't think I'd be ordering it.
Well, no, it would be outlandish thing.
My
to
mum
order.
says she used to, in my mum's tales from her poor childhood, she would roll balls of butter.
Is that her book?
Yeah. She'd roll balls of butter in sugar and eat them.
We used to do that for a sore throat. If you had a sore throat,
really?
you'd spoon a spoonful of butter and then put it in the sugar bowl and then eat that. It didn't work, but
But it
I didn't mind it.
clogs
It
up
was
your
all right.
arteries.
There's another text in from Jeff who says, as young teenagers, my sister and I were left upstairs in a small hotel. That doesn't sound good. Anyway, whilst the parents ate, we had a toy snake and dropped it below onto the entrance path. Hilarious mix of responses from macho male stamping to wimpy run away, run away. I like that.
I like it. I'm hoping it was one of those ridiculously obvious toy snake and that big men ran away. My brother did that. I've got two brothers, and my younger brother, Keith, stopped up late to watch The Outer Limits, which used to be quite a scary programme on the telly. And my other brother went upstairs to bed, and he got a matchbox, which he put on the end of his fishing rod, lowered it out the window and just tapped on the window with the matchbox. And my dad got up, my brother's fishing out the window at 2 a.m, which he thought odd. And he went downstairs, and my other brother was underneath the table, hiding from the ghost. Oh, family life.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
2 Tries by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Coincidentally, there is an area of Birmingham called Hollywood.
Oh.
I'm not saying I'm going to go there just for the purposes of that song, but we're not too far away from there as we speak.
That's true. There's also a place in Birmingham called Broadway, which is another place in America.
I don't even remember where that is, but I'll take your word. Have you been researching
I
Birmingham?
have been
Gareth?
researching Birmingham.
Oh my God, he's got loads of paper here
Got
full of
lots of-
facts.
You sly old fox. What else? What else about Birmingham?
There are 30 Birminghams around the world, and one crater on the moon that's called Birmingham.
I never knew that.
That's true. The chain of Odeon cinemas came from Birmingham.
It started at Birmingham like a chain letter.
The city of Birmingham has staged more major sporting events than any other UK city.
I find that hard to believe.
It's absolutely from the internet true.
But what about London's got about 20 football clubs?
More sporting events than... I think it's quantity probably rather than... I think probably they have a table tennis tournament.
I like that
20
you're
minutes.
saying this like you know. You're just making it up and
I'm
you got it
not
off the
making-
internet.
J.R.R. Tolkien
J.R.
is from
Hartley.
Birmingham.
J.R. Hartley's from Birmingham.
Cadbury's chocolate.
Yes, it certainly is.
Centenary Square is
yes,
made of...
okay.
All right.
We know now about...
Someone has, talking of sporting events, Frank, someone has texted in to say, who is the bloke in the bow tie next to your Edgbaston? They haven't said their name.
That's a very good question.
Who was it?
I should point out the reason they asked me that is because apparently I was on... I went to the test yesterday and I was on telly. You know, they have a shots of, like, celebrities in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I had about 7 texts saying you'd just been on telly. It shows how long since I've last been on telly. And people text me about a 3-second shot during the cricket coverage. Nevertheless, I was sitting next to a bloke, with a bow tie. Oh, so I spoke to him for quite a while. I've no idea, though, who he was.
Oh.
The bow tie made me think, obviously, he was somebody who might have developed the atom bomb. Because it seems to be those kind of, like, scientific types.
Or the late Frank Muir, I always associate.
I don't
bow
think it
tie
was the
with.
late Frank Muir.
They're very fashion now, though, bow ties.
Yeah, the new Doctor Who's wears bow tie, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's not right.
It wasn't him.
Okay.
I don't think it was him, unless you know.
Did he have
No.
an assistant? No, it wasn't him.
He didn't have an assistant now. He had a small metal dog with him, looking back. Maybe, just maybe.
Someone else has tweeted to say, someone called Stimpson Corner. I don't know if that's their real name, but that's their Twitter name.
I like the fact they're called Stimpson Corner. Are they a character from an Oscar Wilde short story? Sir Boothby Stimpson Corner has arrived, sir. Oh, how tiresome. Anyway.
And I believe this is in a sort of Brummie accent.
Okay.
I can't do it, so I'm going to give you... This is how I would read it. Bin ya. Kid loves yow.
You're right.
Loves yow show. He says it's Boston. Love Liz of Langley. Now Uncle Ben's fridge.
Well, that was very sexy, if you don't mind me saying. Very sexy, but with,
What does it all mean,
with
Frank?
an element of someone from the West Midlands on Rohypnol.
Okay.
But I liked it.
How should
what
it
he
sound?
actually should say, "I've been your hair kid, loves your show." He says it's Boston. Lovely's a Langley, near Uncle Ben's Bridge. It's a complimentary
Oh, is that good?
text. Oh,
There's
it's- yeah.
somewhere called Uncle Ben's Bridge.
Uncle Ben's Bridge is where I had, underneath that, I had my first ever under the bra experience.
Wow.
Yes, I've said bra on Absolute Radio. I feel that
Frank?
David Cameron has set a dangerous precedent.
Under the bra, under a bridge. Was it with a troll?
I'm not prepared to answer that, but I've seen better.
Absolute Radio.
Alun Cochrane has joined us here in the studio.
Hello.
I should point out I am Frank Skinner. We are on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily and Gareth, and also we're in Birmingham.
Indeed.
Yes.
Which is exciting for you, isn't it? 'Cause
It is, yes.
it's a
I've been here
home for me.
before, obviously, you understand.
I'm aware of that. As have I, indeed.
But I'm getting me star. Did you know I was getting
Yeah,
me
yeah,
star?
I've heard. It's exciting.
Oh, man, exciting is not the word. I think it was Mark E. Smith from The Fall who said... And
What did he say? Can we hear that again?
he said...
I'm no clearer, are you?
I don't know if one of my headphones isn't loud enough to quite get what he says after
He
Birmingham.
says Birmingham Business School.
Oh, right.
It's from a track called Birmingham School of Business School, which is one of my favourite track titles ever. I think I was talking slightly off mic. It's all gone a bit wrong since you've come in, Alan Cochrane.
sorry.
Get off me!
I've
Get off
affected
me!
affected the feng shui of the studio.
So why are you in Birmingham?
I'm in Birmingham just doing the Glee Club.
Well, don't say
comedy club.
just doing the Glee Club.
I mean, as opposed to being on tour on my own, I'm just doing
Okay.
sets there, as they say.
Okay, the
Show
Glee Club, I
business.
should say, is a very famous comedy club in Birmingham.
Indeed, and then now my headphones they've started playing in both ears now.
Have you ever worn headphones before? I've never seen anyone so fascinated by anything.
Well, it's
No, I've got a dodgy lead as well. The leads are dodgy. I've had to take
People
mine
don't
in
want to
place.
hear this.
No, you'd think we'd put Alan in some sort of cyber mind helmet where you could see sheep jumping at you.
I'll tell you what, I've developed a system now. I'm going to have one ear on and one ear off. So.
I think worked for Van Gogh. So how did it go last night at the Glee Club?
It was good fun, yes. It was nice. It was all right. There was a clerical error, so they phoned me at 5 to 9 saying, "Where are you? You're on first." And I said, "Oh, absolutely not. I've got an email saying I'm on last. I don't need to be there till 11 o'clock.
Oh, dear.
And so then I had to sort of peg it and go straight on stage, which meant that I was full of M&S sandwiches from the service station.
Oh, no, that's not
But,
good,
you know,
is it?
it was fine. Just went on and told them the funny stuff. That's really it.
It's always good to do the funny stuff, I
Absolutely.
think.
It'd take me a while for that to click. But
Yeah. Well, I started doing it, and then after a few years, I thought, actually, I'm going to stop doing the funny stuff.
No, that isn't true, because I've seen you do stand-up this year, and you're very good at it.
Oh, well, thank you, Alan. You
The
can definitely...
self-deprecating humour
You
is...
can come back. What a lovely man he is, Alan Cochrane.
Absolute Radio.
Anyway, Alan, you're about to go in the autumn on quite a massive tour.
Well, I'm doing 30 dates after the Edinburgh Festival. I actually go to the Edinburgh Festival and then go on a sort of honeymoon, because I got married 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago today, in fact, which a lot of people would normally go, oh, but in this room, there's so much jaded cynicism about the whole process that
I'm
everyone
sorry
just
about
goes, okay, either that or just you're also used to comedians talking that you kind of go, and the punchline will be along shortly, we'll just sit here and wait.
I think that one of the things we talked about before the show began was why people go, when someone says they've got married.
I see. Right.
Or
No,
had a child.
I wasn't really expecting an
No,
or. It was.
we're glad you've got married.
I mean, it is effectively a conversation that got out of hand. It was in no way a sort of typical romantic big day type thing, because we've been together 8 years and we just didn't feel a massive need to. We literally grew out of boyfriend and girlfriend because we had a baby and it was too long a relationship. And once that chat started, 3 months later we were married in the Lake District. It was
Did you propose, though?
No, there was no proposal
Oh.
or stag do or hen do or anything.
Did you book a church or anything, or were you married under
No
a tree?
church, no church whatsoever. There was
Married
a
under a
registry
tree by a
office.
man in good velvet robes.
That would have been quite good, but we just went to a registry office in the Lake District and then went to a very nice hotel and all had dinner and.
Were you heading for Gretna Green and thought, this is far
It's
enough,
too
isn't it?
far, yeah.
It's lovely here.
I started looking at how much the fuel was costing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just pull off here. It seems nice.
Well, you got to think, when you're married, that you got to think about these things.
Absolutely.
So how's married life?
Married life's all right, yeah.
Have you noticed any kind of inner core change in your attitude?
The major difference so far is that I've been saying my now wife instead of my girlfriend. And I said on stage the other night, I think that's what happens for the first year. She's your now wife, then she's your wife, and then eventually she's your ex-wife.
Yeah.
And as I said that, a fairly bitter-looking divorcee cackled.
Yeah.
So every now and again you just stumble on someone's backstory that you perhaps might not want to.
Well, I've stumbled on a few cackling, bitter divorcees in Birmingham over the years.
I thought you were going to say you've stumbled on a few backs over the years. But
well, I can assure you. Don't get all David Cameron on us.
Indeed, yeah, that was. I was wondering if I'm allowed to swear.
No, definitely not.
No, I'm gone. Wow, there was panic in the room there.
See, we reacted to that, not your marriage. Swearing,
Exactly.
we're big on that.
Yeah, can we swear?
It is. I find that there's and I swear in adult comedy clubs, but I find that there's a certain amount of everyday swearing that I find offensive. I saw somebody the other day with a T-shirt that had a naughty word and then me ask naughty word Google ask me, and I was just thinking, there's people walking about with their children, and that bloke has blatantly got a swear word written on his T-shirt.
Exactly.
And so I was offended at that, and my mate Neil was more offended at the idea that this person was preposterous enough to assume that they were cleverer than Google.
Well, also, somebody said to me once, I find your T-shirt offensive, the thing written on it. And I had to point out, I actually didn't know it was there. It had been done by mischievous schoolboys, and I wasn't looking. So I felt quite badly done to. I say badly done to.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
We're talking to Alun Cochrane, who recently got married.
Hello.
Oh.
But more importantly, he's on tour.
I am.
So when does the tour begin?
The tour starts the 25th of September. I was told to say that you can find out about it on aluncochrane.com, which is with a U, A-L-U-N. Nobody goes to it because it's an awkward spelling. Anyway, at least that's how I justify it. But yeah, it starts on the 25th of September. It's essentially my civic duty to go out in these troubled times and just talk nonsense, I feel. It's about daydreaming, so it's perfect for these times.
And does it have a title? Like
it's called Alun Cochrane is a Daydreamer, brackets at night, close brackets.
Oh,
that's when the show's on, yeah. I'm a big fan of comedy brackets.
What about Hinge and Bracket? How are you with that?
The jury's still out on them for me. But comedy
but we said we wouldn't mention the trial. Okay, and you're in Edinburgh for the whole thing?
Yes, I go up Thursday night and do the 7th to the 30th or whatever it is, with no days off, because I just thought, if I'm away, I'll just do it. I'll just gig.
I think that's an error. I look forward to the days off. Yeah.
I can't be bothered with them. I'll just end up thinking, I should probably be doing my gig.
Okay, it's just every day you've got a gig, there's a tiny fire burning in your stomach that tells you you're doing a gig that night. Even if you're not really worried about it, it's there. Yeah,
I know what you mean, but at the same time, I just think I'm going up there to do the show, so I may as well just do the show.
Oh, well, fair enough. So
I'm hoping to hit the ground running and keep running for the whole festival.
Well, most people are exhausted after Edinburgh. You're going to go and do a 30-day tour.
Well, I've got a little gap. To stay in a yurt.
You're going to stay in a yurt?
Do you know about a yurt?
They're tents, Frank.
Yeah,
I've heard of them. They have them at festivals.
No, I'm just explaining, because you might think of them as tents.
I thought that was like
They are tents.
I know.
I got massaged in one once.
What?
Yeah, he still writes. No, I did. I did. I got quite a nice, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a deep tissue kind of a thing.
Massage.
That sounds a bit sleazy.
Deep tissue by the end of it. I was crying, is what I meant. It brings out your emotions.
It does. The first massage I had in Thailand or Hong Kong or somewhere, my now wife was on the next bench, and she, I didn't realise that there's an etiquette that you're not meant to go, oh, that's nice.
Right.
So all the way through it, she could just hear this idiot next to her go, oh, that's really good, that. I don't know if there is a protocol, is there? Are you meant to say?
I'd be happy with that if I was a masseuse.
Yeah, well, I think I was a good customer for a masseuse. I'm also very good if people cook for me. I get really into it and keep saying all the way through the meal, this is great. I'm one of those people.
Brilliant.
I think I'd like cooking for me. Well, I do, but I don't thank myself.
No.
Anyway, I'm going on tour.
That's what we're all wondering.
I'm going on tour at the end of September, and it is just about daydreaming. I'm pretending that it's escapism and that you can come along and just laugh away your troubles in these difficult times. But actually, there's a bit more real life in it than I'm pretending. It's all right. It's good.
Well, I should say I've seen Alan live many times, and he's incredibly funny. I don't wish to embarrass you, but it's kind of proper, what I would call proper comedy. It's a man speaking to people, not being dressed up or wearing dark glasses and pretending to be a Hollywood star and doing a funny voice. It's proper, real, funny, from the heart comedy. So I'll be coming. When are you on in Edinburgh? What time of the night?
10:50 p.m.
Well, I can come to that, you see, because my show's at 8 o'clock. I accidentally plug in my own show. Well, what do you know? Well, I'll come to that. That'll be brilliant.
Great. I believe I'm doing your show as well whilst I'm up
Oh,
there,
you are
so
doing my show? Yeah, because I can't do it one night, so I said, well, you do it. You can do the accent. Let's see your Birmingham accent.
What do you want me to say? Let me have a
Say,
think.
like, I love your show, or whatever.
I think she slightly put you off there.
Can I do it again in Birmingham?
Yeah, go on.
I love your show.
There you go. You could be
That's
me.
all right.
They just need aging up a bit like Dustin Hoffman in the 10,000-year-old man. Alan, do go and see Alun Cochrane. He's incredibly funny.
Absolute Radio.
I should say no pressure on Alan, but he came back and said, "I've got a story I forgot to tell." So we said, "Okay."
Well, someone asked about where I was staying, and I'm actually staying in a hotel that I like this because it's sort of, for me, this sums up the oddness of the Midlands. I feel like the Midlands has been overlooked in the whole of the UK in certain ways. Like, they're not even mentioned in the North-South divide, are they?
No, that's true.
And so I think
divide, that's what we used to be called.
just because no one's looking, there's a sort of an everyday oddness that nobody really seems to go, hang on, that's weird in other places. But the bottom line is, the last time I stayed in this hotel, I checked in and asked for a big bed, and the girl on the reception went, no, you can have a small room with a small bed. And I went up there and opened the door, and I checked into a hotel room that didn't have a bed in it. And I literally had to go down to reception and complain to the same woman, my hotel room hasn't got a bed in it.
Did it not have a phone in it either?
I'd had that moment of walking in and at first glance being pleasantly surprised at how roomy the room was.
Well, it would be.
And then thought, hang on, I usually throw my bag somewhere. And I went down and I said, oh, my room hasn't got a bed in it. And she looked up and said, are you sure? And I remember thinking, well, I'm fairly sure.
Did you have a moment's doubt that it could have been one of those that comes down from the wall?
I was thinking I didn't check behind the door. There's probably a double waterbed behind the door, which is my fault.
It just hadn't been filled.
I just can't see certain types of furniture. It's a new problem I have.
That can be quite scary.
Very strange moment.
That is odd. I've always felt like when they said, when they say, would you like, please can you make up my room? Mm-hmm. That they might say, yes, it's on the 11th floor, and there's, number 17, and that there's only 9 floors. But that's never happened.
Did you know that Joseph Priestley, a minister from Birmingham, discovered oxygen?
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, that is true.
Did he find it in his mask on an aeroplane?
I wonder what people breathed before he discovered that.
Gareth likes Birmingham facts.
I've got Birmingham facts.
He's very good on your
Been
Birmingham
online
facts.
yesterday.
Yeah, from online. Rainfall, 1,830 millimetres.
Yeah, that's not as good as the discovering oxygen. Who discovered rainfall?
Rainfall.
I think that was Gene Kelly. So look, Alan, have a great Edinburgh and a great tour.
Thank you very
This
much.
is now your official goodbye, because we've got a special phone guest coming after this song.
Absolute Radio.
It's Roberto Di Matteo, the new West Bromwich Albion boss.
Well, Roberto Di Matteo!
Are you there, Roberto?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. It's very exciting to speak to you, and I really mean that.
Yes, thanks. I mean, it's a pleasure for me to be able to be the head coach of West Bromwich Albion.
Now, what does that mean, Roberto? Because in the past we just had a manager, and now we've got a head coach and a first team coach. So what's your job description?
It's basically the same. I think it's just the name basically changes. The fact that we have a sport director that works very closely with me, and maybe that changed a little bit in recruiting maybe players. But ultimately, I have to find a decision on the players that come in and the ones that go out. So I think it's just a change of title more than anything else.
Okay, so you got a few more people helping you out, basically.
One more person,
Okay.
in Den Ashworth, yes.
So to be a manager now, you have to do all sort of badges and stuff, don't you? You
Yes,
have to
you
do
do.
FA badges.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you do on those courses? I've often wondered.
Well, they give you a structure on how they think, you should coach, you should have your sessions done, and then as you go further up your development, there's some management skills, communication skills involved, a bit of psychology, finance, and all that, as you need as a manager also, because you're running a club, aren't you?
I like the fact they do psychology, so they tell you how to sort of deal with difficult players and stuff like that.
Well, there isn't a guideline really, because obviously everybody is different, has different personalities. So you can't say, well, you just have to treat everybody the same. But to give you an insight into what you have to expect and what you should know a little bit about it.
So what kind of manager are you? Would you say are you a shouter and a screamer, or are you sort of Mr. Nice Guy?
A bit of both. If you need to raise your voice, you raise your voice. If there's no need to do it, you don't do it. I like to observe a lot and then make my decisions. And I think this question I can only answer maybe in 5 years or 6 years or 10 years time.
Because you're still pretty new to it, aren't you? You've only been managing for a year, and suddenly you're managing the best club in Europe.
Well, yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not that new. I'm 39 years old, so I've been in this world for a little bit. And
well, yeah, but not managing, though.
No, not managing.
You can't count your school days.
But I've been in football for all my life, and I've played at the highest level. So I know the environment, I know the industry, and management is very exciting. Actually, I have to say it's a great job.
Now,
a lot of pressure, but it's exciting.
Well, all the best jobs have a bit of pressure thrown in, don't they?
Well, you know something about it, don't you?
Well, I tell you, it's better than I've worked in a factory, and I think being a football manager is probably better than that.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
But, you can always fall back on that if times get hard.
Yeah, well, I remember where I come from, so don't worry. I've been there myself.
Oh, good man. I bet you've never worked in a factory. Weren't you always just a brilliant footballer?
No. Well, I grew up in Switzerland with a poor background. And I used to work in my school holidays and when I was a bit younger before I started my football career. So I've done it all.
Well, that's good. And are you going to move to West Bromwich? I mean, to live.
I'm going to move up to the Midlands, yeah. I'm at the moment temporarily staying in a hotel, but I had the chance yesterday to have a look at some places, and hopefully I can sort something out there as soon as possible. Because
weren't you on that Footballers' Cribs programme?
Oh, the MTV show?
Yeah, the MTV thing with your... Didn't you have a really flash pad?
Well, flash, I wouldn't say it's flash, it's just it's my house, and I decorated with my wife the way we like it, and that's a long time ago though, Frank, I have to say. That's been filmed 5-6 years ago.
That was when you were young and crazy.
Yes, more or less.
Now, I hear that you've done a very Italian thing, that one of the first things you've done since you've come to West Brom is you've had an espresso machine put in your office.
Okay, I understand. You've got some spice in the camp then already. Well, obviously I said to the chairman, if I appoint an Italian manager, you've got to get me an espresso machine, because that's what we have, isn't it? As Italians, we love our espresso.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing your Lambretta on the car park.
No, I won't be doing that with this weather, by the way.
And see you sitting on the bench in shades. It'll be brilliant. I'm very excited about you taking over, Roberto, and all the Albion fans I've spoken to have all got very, very high hopes. Just before you go, can you absolutely categorically guarantee us promotion this season?
Well, unfortunately, I can't. I can
Roberto!
I can guarantee you a commitment, and that's what we're going to put in. And if we do that, and then I think the results will come.
Well, I'm going to be sitting up I sit just behind your bench, actually, about 15 rows behind you. So I'll be shouting very, very loudly. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I heard about you already. Don't worry.
Well, I you know, I mean this from the heart. I wish you the very, very best of luck this season.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank all the supporters I've met so far. They've been brilliant with me so far. They're
a great bunch. As long as you win every week, they'll be very nice.
I know what it is about. I need to win games. I know it's as simple as that.
Exactly. Well, look, all the best of luck, and it's great talking to you.
Thank you, Frank. Bye-bye.
See you, Roberto. Bye.
Bye.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth in Birmingham, all in one breath, and I haven't started breathing. I've stopped breathing. And,
Were you excited chatting to Roberto? He was sweet.
I mean, he's the manager at West Bromwich Albion. You don't know what that means to me.
I could see you being quite nervous.
It's like if some people was like interviewing Madonna. That's how I feel. Well, I'm more excited because he's got nicer arms.
Or like if someone was interviewing them and the guy who wrote "He's Just Not That Into You." For me, that would be the same thing.
That's really the person you'd most like to speak to, the bloke who wrote
No,
that book
he's in my top 10. He's in my top 10.
Oh, okay. Well, perhaps we can get him on.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too difficult.
Someone sort it, please, love.
He's actually, he's with the same management company that I am.
It's all going to come together.
In case you don't know this book, it's quite it's a massive selling book in America.
Yeah.
And it's about dating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a film about it and all. I don't know why we're plugging. He's not on.
Exactly.
When he's on now, I'll just say, sorry, we plugged it 8 months ago when you cropped up and all that. So I'm getting ready now for my star ceremony. In case you've tuned in late, I'm getting a star on the Birmingham Walk of Stars.
Is that what you're wearing?
What, you mean this this yellow cycling outfit? Yes, that's exactly. What of it? Yes. We're in Birmingham. I think it was Johnny Rotten who said. Yeah, he's not here in case you're wondering. Think I'd fancy getting him in just for that. We use that as a tag. Yeah, I don't know quite what's happening. I'm turning up. I'm doing some interviews with the local press, including somebody called Radio Rhubarb, which I don't know anything about. And then I'm doing judging a talent contest of Birmingham new comedians. So they're getting their money's worth. Then I get my star from the mayor, and then I get a 3-course meal, and so do all my friends and family, including the people on this show.
Hey!
So that's brilliant. I just had a note that says use somebody. You know, it's just not in my nature. Oh, you mean the song? Okay, so Jo Russell is next. She's giving away free tickets to the V Festival. Can you believe that? Nothing to do with the Absolute. She just found some in her handbag. I mean, they're from 4 years ago, but who cares? Thanks very much. It's been lovely doing the show from Birmingham. If you're around, come and see me get me star. And if you're not, we'll speak to you next week. Good day to you.
Absolute Radio.